we went to see the band called Saxon, and the guitar player took his guitar, and all of a sudden it'd end up right back here, and he'd start
Yeah, when they
playing.
did right, that was the beginning of that stuff.
So
Right.
I had two left-handed Strats because they were cheap. They were
Okay.
cheaper than the right-handed ones because they couldn't sell them. So I had two left-handed Strats. One was sunburst, one was black. My sunburst one, I tried to do that number. I had the strap locks, and I went and threw it, hoping it would come right back here and I could play it. It went straight up. The strap lock broke and it went straight up into the sky. I was practicing outside. I mean, it was way up there, and I couldn't see it where it was at because it's in Arizona in the sun. I was trying to block the sun so I could catch my guitar, and it just went bam and cracked the neck. I got a new neck for it, but it never was the same.
That's a great story. All right. So after Aerosmith, for me, it was a transitional phase here during those, late 70s. There was a lot going on with new guitar sounds or anything that came along in my otherwise interest in music. And you and I had sort of been just listening to the things we had. I hadn't heard anything from you, blah, blah, blah. And so bands like Molly Hatchet came along. And so for the other people that played music, and like I said, we'll talk about us playing later, but Molly Hatchet really came in with Flirting with Disaster. And when that song came out, it's like it turned into the at the time version of Smoke on the Water. Everybody had to know how to do it. Don, don, don. Except in this case, da, 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 da. And so everybody had to know that. And it was a good song. And it was Southern rock, which was different. I hadn't experienced that. I didn't have any like Leonard Skinner background or anything like that. And so Molly Hatchet really introduced a different kind of almost Southern bluesy rock into me that to some extent maybe left a mark, but I really liked them and I focused on them there was a period for like 6 months where that's all I did was just listen to their albums and stuff like that. Do you remember Molly Hatchet, Troy?
Yes, I saw them. They warmed up REO Speedwagon in 1979, and I'd never heard of them until I actually saw them live, and I was like, "Oh, gotta have that album." They only had that was their second album, so I bought that one and their first one after I saw them.
Well,
That wasn't a very long-lived for me, Molly Hatchet
no,
wasn't.
no, it wasn't for me either. Perhaps you're the one that maybe said something. Maybe I misspoke, but and we'll talk more about seeing it live because we're gonna have another one of these where we talk about bands that we're talking about that we did see live during these years. But what did you think of them guitar wise, or like, well, not guitar wise, but I mean, how did they influence you as far as did you dig the music? Did you like it? Did it light you up? Did it make you feel good?
I loved them because they had 3 guitar players.
Three.
3.
You need
There's
three.
not enough guitar.
So the Grateful Dead gets a hard time for 2 drummers, but you're okay with 3. I guess Iron Maiden did it, so that's all right, right?
Yeah, and they played, and I was like, watch them. Whoa, who's doing the lead now? Oh, wait a minute, they're all doing a lead. Whoa,
Ah.
now that guy's doing something. That just floored me. I thought I've never seen anything like it. And they were from Jacksonville, Florida, so they'd get up. All 5 of them would line up in the front of the stage. And they'd call it the Southern Line or the Confederate Line. And I thought that was so cool that they were like Confederate soldiers jamming on stage.
Right.
Because
And
I love the Civil War stuff too. And I love,
yeah, so Molly has it, yeah, and that Southern fire of the whole thing and the rebellion of it. That part too probably spoke a lot to me because this is about the time that I started becoming a problem in school. But so who was your like next one? I mean, you had your first 3. Who's your 4?
well, I
If
can't
there's
leave Cheap Trick out because I've seen that band more than I've seen anybody by mistake. I saw them, well, before we saw Kiss in 77. I saw
Mhm.
them, mom and dad, in the 70s. They had variety shows, and Donny and Marie had a variety show, and they went out on tour. And mom and dad were like, let's go see Donny and Marie. I think it was the summer of 77 before you got there.
Yeah.
So we went to see Donny and Marie, and Cheap Trick was the opening band. And me and Greg were like looking at each other like, hey, Donny and Marie's pretty good. And, yeah, Rick Nielsen's jumping all over the place and Cheap Trick's rocking. And then they stopped, and Mom and Dad were like, who are these guys? This isn't Donny and Marie.
You go to Cracker Barrel after the show, right? That's great. All right, so
Yeah,
Cheap Trick,
Cheap
yeah.
Trick.
And like I said, we're gonna have another thing where we talk about seeing these bands live, because
Yeah.
we both did see them live together. Yeah, so that was, but still, I mean, Cheap Trick, that was early for you, but and coming back now, I guess, influenced you again after Aerosmith and everything. But the other one that I would say that made an influence on me as far as bands that I was listening to between the sort of, you know, when Kiss fizzled for me, then it went to, you know, a little bit of Angel, somewhat Aerosmith because Troy was into them and I liked, you know, basically this is before they went commercial, Love in an Elevator, all that crap. And then also Molly Hatchet, just because interesting and different. But Triumph was the next one for me that was interesting and different. They were different because they were from Canada, and they also had a bit of that like explosive power to them. But they were also the beginning of what became a new phase for me, technically proficient. They were very tight. They were very good. They weren't playing with simple chords or simple scales or whatever, but time signatures, any of those things. I mean, yeah, you might be able to go back and go look at it right now for all you musical experts out there, and it might be some of that stuff, but it didn't seem that way at the time compared to the sort of sloppy, bluesy kind of way the 70s were. These guys seemed to be on spot, and they primed me for what came next. So I remember there was a whole like summer, it must have been like 8th grade or something like that, because I started high school in 1980. We both did. But it might have been around that time. They had some popular songs. I don't even remember what they were, but Triumph was really big with me, and I really liked them. Do you remember them?
I liked Triumph, the Fight the Good Fight.
That might be a song.
Yeah.
And that sounds rebellion as hell, doesn't it? Right on, man. What else are you going to do? Give up? It's not in the game. There's no card for that.
Yeah, Triumph.
And then,
so I guess that the Triumph, once again, 3 guitar players, 1 band, was April Wine. Those guys,
what?
April Wine.
April Wine.
They really did it for me. I was like,
I remember you talking about them all the time.
They were Canadian too.
And I recall that they were very good. Everybody else liked them, and they were like, and I'm not saying everybody else like they were popular, but people that knew, as if we knew. But I don't know anything about them. Tell me about April Wine.
They had a song called I Like to Rock. I Like to Rock. And I watched them. Again, we're going live. I saw them play that, and at the end of the song, they play Day Tripper, Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Stones, and I Like to Rock. All 3 of those songs at once. And it all came together. I watched, I was like, how the hell do you do that? I was floored. Again,
so it's like
3 guitar players, 1 band.
So it's like a medley spaghetti?
Yeah, I mean, they're all on an album. They do that.
Well, we'll have to. Well, that's another thing. Another future episode. And for those listening, if you are, I know you are, because that's why you hear me, comment below on other things you would like to see us talk about, because I'd like to talk about that too. Just going back and I'm assuming you do, but takes on different things like that, listening to things like that. What are the 3 guitar players in this band? How do they play together versus these 3? And not that we're trying to compare them and say somebody's better than another, but trying to find what's good about it, and stuff like that. Because it's not, I mean, everybody, believe me, I'm a subscriber to the whole notion of, and I'm not going to say who said both these things, but they're both big influencers on me that we're going to get back to later when we talk about that guitar stuff. But one of them is, please keep me in time and in tune and play every note like you meant it. And so long as you can do that, doesn't matter how it's really plays, as long as it sounds good together at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? And that's why I love live music. Live music. I don't want to hear a studio album. I want to hear it live. You know, I want to hear how the
Oh, yeah.
band is. I don't want to hear how the engineer is or how it was that day they were sitting in a nice, comfy place. I want to see them right there, like I am right now on the street. You know, play. And so, Triumph, though, for me worked, and April Wine. So, sounds like they filled the same kind of gap.
Yeah, that's about the same time, late 70s, early 80s. And they like that
Before
Rick Emmett from Triumph, he had a clean, clean sound. It was just amazing to listen to him play guitar. Like, it was just beautiful guitar playing. Heavy, but clean. Everybody else had distortion pedals. He played like almost as though it was his guitar plugged into his amp, nothing in between. It was just, he was an amazing guitar player.
Right. And next we move into what defined what this is a chapter moment in my life. There's only been 2 of them in music. This was the first one. And it, as most things, came as a result of you. You had seen a band play before a band that was headlining, and you saw them play in Phoenix, Arizona. I believe it was like 81, maybe 82.
August
81.
81.
Right. And we both end up loving these bands. We're going to talk about the other one in a second, but you saw this band play and you told me about it, and I got an EP, I think it was at the time, and by the time I came out that summer, I was already fully invested in an album called Killers from a band called Iron Maiden, and
yeah.
I never went back. And it was because you had turned me on for them. When I heard the first notes of Ides of March, going around, and then going into Murders and Rue Morgue, those little harmonics, I mean, that whole freaking album is just lights freaking out. It is just amazing. And then when you're done with it, you listen to the first album and you hear things like Acacia Avenue and all these other songs. Prowler opens it up. You know, it's just like crazy. And then we had Maiden Japan that came out, that EP that came. We heard them live for the first time. And there was some other little EPs like that. And I remember going to Rolling Stone Record in Chicago there, where Hip is today. For those of you in Chicago, I'm originally from Chicago. And they had all these EPs about that time, and I was getting these EPs from all over the place of Iron Maiden, even before they came out with Number of the Beast. And I remember going back from that summer that I came out in 81, I guess it would have been. And I came back to high school, and I had a Killer shirt. And all the kids in high school like, what the hell is that stupid freaking cartoon crap? What is that stuff? And then Number of the Beast came out the next year, and everybody's like, oh, Iron Maiden is the best thing ever. Oh, my God. You know, and I'm like, F off, people. You're a dirtbag. You know, whatever. We're rivet heads. We're earth dogs. We're rivet heads. We're the real folks. Old metal now, although we were little kids, but it was great. When I heard Iron Maiden play, when Steve Harris, Dave Murray, at that time it was Paul Di'Anno still, and you know, Adrian Smith, and it was still Clive Burr, all that's right. And then, of course, Bruce came in that I was only in for about a year before Number of the Beast came out. And then was the following year in high school, everybody had Number of the Beast shirts because of one song, Run to the Hills.
Run to the Hills.
Run to the Hills. And it was a great song. Great song.
They made a lot of Native American fans with that song. Because we went. There was a lot of that in high school.